Hi YouTube. I'm keeping a watch on the Daily Mail, which, as you well know if you have seen other videos I've made, I see as the organ of the establishment. The front page today was very telling in terms of its manipulative power. First, a piece of news designed to placate. It's called "Greedy Bankers to Face Prison." It turns out when you look further that there are all sorts of quote, legal obstacles, so it's not actually going to happen. Then there's the titillation article. You too can have Pippa Middleton's figure. Then, prominently in the right-hand corner, is the brainwashing article. And there's a two-page spread on page 14 and 15. The point is, this article is given quite a lot of prominence. It's the story of a hapless woman who meets, falls in love with, and has a 2-year-old daughter by a man whose wife has disappeared. He apparently denied murdering her, but took a lie detector test which caught him out. His girlfriend continued to believe his story, but eventually found he had lied. When asked why he lied, he said that he thought he could beat the machine. Now, the subtext of this article is actually telling the reader that lie detectors are infallible. And it's done in a very clever way because this is a human interest story which people are likely to read, and so it is very, very important. Now, it so happens that the government is proposing introducing lie detectors for those facing criminal charges. This is going to go side by side with the disappearance of juries. It's much cheaper, of course. And if you're thinking to yourself that you are never likely to face criminal charges, remember that terrorism is a criminal offence, and the definition of terrorism in a police state can be very loose indeed. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't feel happy about being convicted by a machine. Apart from anything else, the data from the machine has to be interpreted, and in a police state you can imagine how the appropriate person would be chosen to do the interpretation. And again, speaking personally, as someone who always felt guilty when the head teacher announced a theft in school assembly, even though I was completely innocent, I wouldn't be happy about taking a lie detector test. But I want to be fair on the Daily Mail. Although the front page fits my theory that the paper is the organ of the establishment, there's another article further inside the paper which is probably even more important and again demonstrates the slide towards a police state. This article, however, written by David Rose, is an example of responsible journalism which deserves congratulation in this day and age. The article is called "Secret Justice", and it contrasts the noble statements made by Cameron and Clegg when they came to power with their actions now. To quote from David Rose, "What a difference 19 months makes." Speaking in the sunlit Downing Street Gardens as he launched the coalition back in May 2010, Prime Minister David Cameron promised it would be committed to civil liberties and curbing the power of the state. Nick Clegg added that after years of Labour authoritarianism, theirs would be a government that, quote, hands you back your liberties. And of course he's saying that this is not what's happening. Now, however, they are proposing powers to hold secret hearings in any civil case or any inquest. Again, quoting from David Rose, he says, "The key points set out late last year in a green paper on justice and security include a sweeping power to allow ministers to withhold evidence they deem sensitive from any civil open court hearing or inquest if the minister thinks disclosure would cause, quote, damage to the public interest." So, the terms sensitive and in the public interest are not really defined, And this, of course, has alarming implications. Apparently, it's been triggered by a desire to keep any information about torture in Guantanamo Bay from the public. But the implications are very serious indeed. And MPs should be doing something to stop this development. David Rose's article points out that anything to do with policing relations with foreign governments, government commercial contracts, any of these things can be hidden from the public. Add to that the fact that any minister can use this change to hide wrongdoing, the minister being a party to the case, goes against the common law principle that no one shall be a judge in his own cause. Also, British law is based on precedents, and with this change, precedents will be formed in secret courts. Maybe the change has been introduced to hide the facts of the David Kelly affair coming out, now that a number of doctors have challenged the findings of the report into the way he is alleged to have died, and they're proposing that there should be an inquest. If you add to this the fact that we've already got secret family courts, now I've got no experience of these at all, but I do understand that some people are very concerned about them. And you compare this with the NDAA legislation, which was signed by Obama on New Year's Eve, which allows indefinite detention without trial of US citizens. And anybody who's awake in this country, in the UK, is going to be very, very concerned indeed that we too are slowly but surely sliding towards a police state.
Another key legal principle that is being trampled on here is summed up in the Latin maxim audi alteram partem, which literally means that both sides have an opportunity to put their evidence before the judge or jury, and both sides have an opportunity to respond to evidence which is against them. As you can imagine, if you can get some minister just simply saying, nope, that piece of evidence isn't going to be allowed to be put into court, then people can be convicted without being able to place important evidence in front of the judge or jury. This is appalling. Members of Parliament, what do you think you're doing? You've got an opportunity here to vote against this bill, and you must not adhere to the party whip